Hello and welcome to Narrowcast Boxing. It's April 24th, 2019. In this episode, I'll be recapping the fights from this past weekend. So with that said, let's get into it. The first and most significant fight was Terence Crawford versus Amir Khan. This was an interesting fight even though the outcome was predicted by most people before it took place, including myself. Crawford in the first round came out in the orthodox stance, which was unusual for him at this point. I can't really remember the last time I saw him fight that way or start off that way. He usually spends most of his time in southpaw these days. There wasn't really much action in the first until Crawford was able to drop Amir Khan. Khan was visibly hurt and wobbly. Crawford looked for the stoppage with big swinging punches, and Amir Khan is really lucky to have survived the round. In rounds 2 and 3, I thought that Crawford did a nice job of stuffing Amir Khan's offense by moving back with his hands up. Crawford still at this point was looking for the stoppage. Amir Khan was able to rush in and land a couple of punches here and there, but nothing that really had too much effect. In these rounds, Crawford switched to southpaw. He was also looking for counter punches, and he was pot-shotting on offense. And the fight slowed down into more of a boxing match, which closed the margins for winning rounds, but I still felt like Crawford was edging these. To be honest, I scored every single round for Terence Crawford. Going into round 4, Crawford was landing hard flush shots on the inside, to the head and to the body, and he was switching between orthodox and southpaw. I thought it was a good round for him, and I thought it was his best since the first round. In round 5, Crawford was in complete control. He was standing in range of Amir Khan as a southpaw. The round ended, but I got the feeling that Crawford was about one punch away from really ending the fight. Amir Khan at this point was really taking a beating, and his offense was reduced significantly. He was just really flailing in with punches. Crawford was getting hit in exchanges, but he didn't really seem to be fazed. In round 6, Crawford hit Amir Khan with an accidental low blow. On replay, it looked like Khan was pushing Crawford's head down, and Crawford threw a hook that was either on the cup or on the thigh, which is pretty debatable. After this happened, Khan was looking for a way out, in my opinion, and the fight was stopped. In the post-fight interviews, it was revealed that Amir Khan's corner stopped the fight. This was a strange ending. Crawford got the TKO victory in round 6. I don't exactly know how correct of a decision that is, but it's what we got, and I don't think that anyone can really complain too much about it. One thing is for sure, though, I don't really blame Amir Khan for not wanting to continue. Whether he quit or legitimately couldn't continue, it's anybody's call, but I don't really fault him for looking for a way out. As far as the post-fight interviews also, there was some mention of Errol Spence and a fight between him and Terence Crawford. I think that's probably a long ways out, and I'm really not holding my breath for that fight. As for Amir Khan, I know people have been wanting to see the Kell Brook fight for a long time, but I think, honestly, the most logical fight for Amir Khan at this point, and it makes sense in a number of ways, is against Adrian Broner. I think that people would really go for it. You could have some kind of build-up, and I think it's a fight you could really sell to the public, and it's really a crossroads fight for both of those guys. As for Crawford, once again, I don't think that the Errol Spence fight is really on the horizon anytime soon. He looked very good in this fight, and he did what he was supposed to do. I'd of course like to see him in with the other champions at welterweight, but with the politics in boxing, I don't really know how likely that is. I wasn't really looking forward to him in with Khan because it was a predictable outcome. Khan really had no chance, in my opinion, and hopefully Crawford moving forward gets to fight somebody worthwhile and someone who can actually test him. Moving beyond that, Danny Garcia stopped Adrian Granados in the 7th round. I only caught a couple rounds of this fight, but I did see that Garcia dropped him multiple times. The outcome of this fight, for me, wasn't really unexpected. Garcia was clearly better and managed to get the win and the stoppage. Garcia seems to have a lot of options at welterweight. I personally would like to see him in with Errol Spence, just because Spence is one of the champions that Garcia hasn't faced. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. On the undercard of the Terence Crawford Amir Khan fight was Teofimo Lopez versus Edis Tatli. Lopez, I noticed from the start, did very good body work, but I also noticed that he threw every punch hard. He didn't really vary up his speed too much. Into the middle of the fight, it was evident that Tatli was a competent fighter, was able to block a number of Lopez's punches, use the ring, and do well with his jab. Lopez looked to be the more skilled of the two. His counter-punching was quite good, but his offense wasn't really that creative. In round 5, Lopez landed a straight right to the body, and Tatli was finished. The finish was actually pretty surprising. I was starting to think that this one might go the distance just based on how the fight was playing out. Lopez was winning every round on my scorecard, but they were all competitive rounds. I feel like Lopez could use maybe 2, possibly 3 more fights to improve on some areas of his game before they push him into a world title fight. If he does get a world title fight, I would have to assume that it would be against Richard Comey, or if Mikey Garcia vacates his 135-pound title, then Lopez would go after that. I don't see any way that they'd stick him in with Garcia or Lomachenko at this point. Regardless of all that, I think this was a solid win against a European champion, and the future is really bright for Teofimo Lopez. Anyway, that's the recap for this past weekend. Keep an eye out for my previews of fights for this upcoming weekend. And with that said, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.